Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the debut record from Laurenne Louhimo, The Reckoning, out July 9th on Frontiers Music. This album has 10 tracks, 44 minutes in length, and they are a Finnish duo featuring Netta of Smackbound and Nora of Battle Beast. The first time that I saw this album pop up, that they announced that they're going to be releasing it, the first question I had was, is the sound going to go towards Smackbound or is the sound going to go towards Battle Beast? Now, before I answer that question, let's get into some of the other details that really make up the DNA of this record, starting off with the overall construction and the overall structure of this album. I really like how they built it. This is an album that offers a lot of similarities as far as the song construction and soundscape is concerned. So if you put them next to each other, it allows the album to feel more continuous, but it also makes the album feel a little bit more flat, not as dynamic, not as engaging. So what they did was they kept those songs as far apart from each other as possible in order for this record to have ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, to be really fluid, to be really dynamic, and to really keep the attention of the listener from the first song all the way to the last song. In the middle of the record, they added a ballad, Hurricane Love, that really breaks the album into two, giving the record this overall classic feel. Now, what you get in the first side of the record is exactly what you're going to get on the second side. This change in direction from song to song, but a balanced approach in terms of quality and execution on both sides really makes the overall album feel very robust. And robust is something that you can also be said about the overall soundscape. To answer that initial question, I don't feel like this album is Smackbound or Battle Beast. There are some elements of both bands in there, but this is more of an 80s driven classic heavy metal melodic style album through and through, with big volume, big presence, a lot of depth, making it really big across all the different parameters. Not super layered, so it's really easy for you to really digest everything that's happening within the record, understand what the full picture is all about, and then try to break it down as much as possible. But this is an album that's always going to take you to the vocals and what they're doing on a song in, song out style basis. Now, within the sound, before we get into those vocals, within the sound, you can talk about the drums, you can talk about the bass, you can talk about the keyboards. To me, all of those elements are there to serve the songs one way or another. None of them really jumps into the forefront in terms of asking for a commanding role in the overall design of this album. Within the soundscape, I only felt like there was one element that really outshined everything else, and that is the guitars. I love the guitar playing on this record, I love the solos, I love the melodies. I love the drive that it gives to the songs, and it's really something within the sound that becomes a very standard characteristic across every single track. You can always depend on great vocals, but you can also depend on great guitar playing song in and song out. So that was a very nice feel that the album had, a nice red line all the way through that really allowed this album to stay very well connected, even though sometimes the songs are pulling and pushing you in different directions. Now, on top of it all, let's talk about the vocals. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, the reason why people are going to gravitate towards this record. That's what brought me in. I didn't come into this record because of the guitar solos, even though I really enjoy the guitar solos. What sold me on this record was Netta and Nora and what they can do vocally. They did an incredible job. I feel like the dynamic between the two of them comes from knowing each other really well and understanding exactly what they can do and their own limitations, and then working off of the things they do best and not necessarily concentrating on the things that they struggle with. That is the strength of this album, and that's where this album really gets its life. This is a record that's designed around the two of them. They're on a pedestal, they're there to shine, everything else is there as support staff in order for them to reach the goal that they wanted to reach. But phenomenal work, really intertwining the two styles, the two vocalists on every single track throughout this record, making the album feel so much alive but so organic at the same time. It just feels perfect. The fluidity between the two of them, how they interchange with one another is just absolutely magnificent. So overall, I really enjoy this record. I really like this album. I hope this is not a one-time thing, because I feel like the two of them could really do incredible things together and even try different styles and different approaches, even different soundscapes in future records. I just feel like they're a perfect combination of voices. The two of them really combine well, they really complement each other well, and this record is proof of that. As far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with Time to Kill the Night, the opening track. Great opening track, feels a little bit linear, but it has that 80s influence, so you start to see a little bit of the DNA of this record coming to life in this opening song, which is always an important trait of an opening track, is to kind of let the doors open and let you know exactly what the record is going to be all about. I like how the song builds from the verses into the chorus. The chorus has more volume. The solo that comes after the second chorus is just magnificent. It really explodes on the track, really giving some life, some energy to the song. itself, and it complements the track perfectly. It makes the song feel super complete, really well set up, really well structured, really well delivered. Hurricane Love, that ballad in the middle, one of my favorite songs on this record. I mean, I'm in love with this song. Incredible. The piano leads this track. There's some guitars, but it feels really stripped down. It gains more volume, it gains more momentum as the song progresses. Typical ballad style approach. But I love that piano opening, and I love how that piano really becomes a key component of how this song moves. Then obviously you get the vocals coming in, they become the spotlight, everything surrounds them, and they give life, they give the warmth to the track, a track that's really stripped down, but it starts to gain momentum, it starts to gain growth, and the vocals really bring energy to this track, making this song feel almost cinematic, a track that could be on a soundtrack of a Disney movie. It has that essence, it has that presence, it really becomes larger than life, and you just gravitate towards it. Such an incredible track. There's nothing that comes even close to it on this album as far as the presence, as far as the organic feel that it gives to the listener musically and vocally. Last but not least, Viper's Kiss, a soft track but with a little bit of a bite on the guitars. Not too much, but enough to really set it apart for some of the previous tracks and to some of the tracks that come after it. It gives it a little bit of an edge, if you will. It still has that melodic vibe, still has that 80s influence to it on both sound and vocals. That's something that's true throughout the record. Both of these vocalists really have a little bit of a twang, an 80s twang to them, and it really comes across. The soundscape of this album enhances it perhaps, and this song is a perfect example of that. The vocals push the song, they really drive the track forward, they become the motor of this track, if you will, giving it energy to the track. The verses feel a little bit more melodic, a little bit more soft, the chorus is a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more over the top, so you have that yin and yang throughout the track, those ups and downs that makes this song move, that makes the song feel a little bit more interesting, a little bit more engaging, and then two incredible vocalists that just completely try to outshine each other without really trying, and they just deliver an incredible performance from top to bottom on this track. This is it, Laurenne and Louhimo, The Reckoning, out July 9th on Frontiers Music. Let me know your thoughts on them, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.